These are not the pine nuts in your supermarket. These are Siberian cedar pine nuts, Pinus sibirica, grown for the Western Siberian Taiga. 800 million hectares of boreal forest, larger than the entire continent of Australia. 5 a.m., the Tomsk Oblast harvesting camp, 180 kilometers from the nearest road. 5 men, a father, his 2 sons, and 2 neighbors.
The equipment has not changed in 200 years. Iron boot spikes, shesternya, for climbing the trunk. A birchwood mallet.
The Siberian cedar pine forest at minus 20 degrees Celsius is one of the quietest places on Earth. The cold suppresses sound. He counts approximately 60 visible clusters, 240 cones estimated for the full crown. Each cone weighs approximately 80 grams and contains 80 to 100. The shesternya spikes are forged by a blacksmith in the nearest town, 180 kilometers away. This pair is the climbing technique, spike into bark, lean back on rope, step up, is the same motion used to climb telephone poles. His son, 24 years old, watches his father's feet on the spikes from directly below. He is checking the angle of each spike. At 30 meters, the sound of the forest changes. The wind in the upper canopy is audible, a deep, low pine resin on bare hands at minus 22 degrees Celsius. The resin from the Siberian cedar is sticky and thick in the cold. The crown of an 80-year-old Siberian cedar pine at 40 meters. The cones are heavy, each one 300 to 400 grams. The collet strike sends a compression wave up the trunk at the speed of sound in wood, approximately 4,000 meters per second. A Siberian cedar pine cone falling 40 meters reaches a terminal velocity of approximately 25 meters per second.
3 strikes per tree. Not 2, not 4, 3. The first strike loosens the cones in the direct vibration path.
The descent takes 4 minutes. The ascent took 7. The difference is the direction of gravity and the confidence of completion. The tree has been struck. The cones are down.
The collection window after a strike is approximately 20 minutes, after which the cones that fell into deeper snow become difficult to
180 cones. Excellent work. Let us move to the next tree now.
The Siberian cedar pine nut harvest is one of the oldest continuous human activities in Siberia.
A leaning tree changes the climbing geometry. On the uphill side, the bark is under compression, denser.
Checking alignment at 20 meters. How does the rigging look from below? Solid, boss. The lean is compensated. Keep climbing.
200 cones from one tree. At 80 grams per cone, 16 kilograms of raw material. After processing, drying, shelling, cleaning.
Lunch in the Siberian taiga at minus 22 degrees. Bread that is frozen solid in the pocket, thawed slightly by body heat, eaten in chunks.
The 19-year-old is in his first full harvest season. Last year he came for 3 days as an observer, his father's rule.
The team leader chooses this tree deliberately, the heaviest cone load of the day, but also one of the more forgiving trunks.
Давай.
He will remember this view for the rest of his life. His first sight of the Siberian taiga canopy. The uncle counts the cones silently as the team collects. 250, above average for the first attempt. He says nothing to the boy about this yet. October light in the Western Siberian taiga lasts 9 hours, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The team works every one of the evening routine, fire rebuilt, boots dried on the log beside it, food cooked in the single cast iron pot that travels to every harvest camp.
The thing about 250 cones and the second strike.
Sends. At minus 28 degrees, the Siberian taiga enters a particular stillness that cold climates rarely reach. No cone processing at the camp. The cones are beaten on tarps to release the seeds. Then the seeds are winnowed, tossed in the wind to separate the light empty seeds from the heavy full ones.
Siberian cedar pine nuts contain 68% oil by dry weight, one of the highest oil contents of any tree nut. The dominant fatty acid is pinolenic acid.
1 week complete. The team has processed 47 trees, collected approximately 8,500 cones, and is on track to fill their 14 canvas bags.
The harvest maps show 340 marked Siberian cedar pines. 287 are still productive.
The snowstorm cost them 14 hours and added 30 centimeters of snow to navigate. They adjust by focusing the remaining 2 days of the
Отец, я на месте! Шишек полно. Хорошо. Держись крепче, начинаю.
490 cones, the season's best tree, as it has been most years. The team leader marks the oilskin map. 150-year tree, final day, 490 cones, season complete. The Siberian cedar pine begins forming next year's cone buds within weeks of this year's harvest. The 3 kolot strikes do not damage the tree. The buyer weighs 112 kilograms of clean, dried Siberian cedar pine nuts, the season's total yield from 5 men, 10 days, 47...
At the Tomsk processing facility, 112 kilograms of raw Siberian cedar pine nuts become approximately 89 kilograms.
January in the Western Siberian Taiga. A team of younger and older harvesters, all of Slavic descent, are in their village. He has been asked if he would do something else if he could. He says, "I could do something else. I chose to do this."
What about the boys' first climb? 250 cones, second strike centered.
The Siberian cedar pine cone takes 18 months to develop, from bud to ripe cone ready for harvest. The proportion that survive to harvest determines the yield of the next season.
Siberian squirrels harvest Siberian cedar pine cones, in direct competition with human harvesters.
In August, an experienced Siberian cedar pine nut harvester can assess cone quality by touch and smell without opening the cone.
Birchwood for the kolot specifically. Not pine, not oak, not the Siberian cedar itself. Birchwood has the optimal combination of...
Take care of your father. Be careful out there. We will, Mom. See you soon.
He picks up the first cone of every season and holds it for a moment. He has done this for 30 years. He cannot fully explain why.
400 cones minimum. Strike centered, 3 strikes, watch the branch at 35 meters.
310, better second strike. Watch the lean on the next tree.
Minus 31 degrees Celsius. The threshold at which the Siberian cedar bark becomes too hard for reliable spike bursts is approximately minus 33.
The map's final entry for this season, 52 trees, 9,400 cones, 118 kilograms clean yield, 1 new tree added to active harvest. Notes for next year, northeast section lighter than usual.
This is what 18 months of growth looks like at its completion. This is what 80 years of the tree's productive life produces in one cone. The squirrels cache an estimated 500 million Siberian cedar pine nuts in the Western Siberian Taiga each autumn. He marks the young tree on his map knowing he will never harvest it. His sons may not harvest it. His grandchildren, if they choose this work, might be the first generation.
Is the harvesting sustainable up on that ridge?
We should check the eastern slope first. The yield is better there.
All right. I'll make a note of the coordinates.
Cold-pressed Siberian cedar pine nut oil, $60 per 100 milliliters in European specialty stores. The oil from 1 kilogram of pine nuts. 4 seasons, 1 tree, 80 years to first harvest, 500 years of potential life. He sets the boots by the fire to dry. He drinks his tea. The season is in the past. The next season is already beginning.
They do not hurry. They have earned what they carry. The river accepts their...
The trees were here before me. They will be here after me. I am the temporary part of the relationship. The forest is the permanent part.
100 million hectares, 8,000 years of harvest, 3 weeks per year, 5 men, 52 trees, 9,400 cones. The team leader climbs. He reaches the crown, the collet swings, and the cascade of Siberian cedar pine cones falls again from 40 meters. 1 pine nut, 80 years of growth, 40 meters of climbing, minus 30 degrees of cold, 1 birchwood mallet, 1 iron spike.